The Professor and the Ghosts of House Storm. The Professor's Journal, Extract 1. Tonight was a really rough, trying evening. I feel the need to record it for some kind of posterity. It's the beginning or end of something. But I find that I can't be bothered to describe it all. My energy is drained, my heart weighs heavy. I just want to lie down. If only an emphatic young gentleman could tell it for me. Today, we go on a spooky soiree as we take the time to reveal a new area of House Storm. But before we do, we have to go back to the beginning of the start of the end of the Professor's past. Bear with me, this will make sense. Chapter 1, The Professor's Frozen Trick. The Professor walked down the corridor. It was one of the main corridors of House Storm, the type that led to various things of an extremely secret nature. But tonight, he will come face to face with something of an altogether more dark nature. The first night, he noticed a small rattling coming from somewhere in the corridor. But it didn't matter. The second night, a louder rattling. I must check that out, he thought. The third night, a cool chill in the air, alongside an even louder rattling. Okay, I'll put this on the to-do list. He put it on the to-do list. The fourth night, a frost creeped along the floorboards, and the Professor slipped. He landed on that bit above the bum, you know, the bit that's sole purpose is to just hurt more when you fall on it. After several specific expletives, he took a breath. What on earth? He said. But what he was soon to discover was not of this earth. The lock of a door was beginning to turn. What is this door? The Professor asked. What door, I hear you ask? Indeed, this was a door the Professor had long forgotten existed. Did it exist before? But here it was, now, right in front of him. The Professor tried to back away, but he found himself glued to the wall. As the door opened, he started to breathe more heavily, and he slumped to the floor. Chest tight, breathing heavy. He looked at the now open doorway. In front of him was a ghost. The ghost was a large, terrifying electric apparition thrice his size. He could feel static in the air as it started to move. His arm and fingers tingled. The ghost floated through the doorway. Now at this point, you might ask, why didn't the ghost just go through the wall instead of opening the door? It's a ghost. And yeah, that's a fair point, very clever. But this ghost simply had a flair for being dramatic. And those types of ghosts are the worst types of ghosts. The Professor's heart raced, his eyes filled with tears, and he just couldn't seem to move. At this point, he closed his eyes. Now, the Professor, being a technical genius of some kind, did ordinarily have various ways of dealing with this. Many gadgets he'd invented that could send this ghost away. Many tools. But for now, they were no use. Any power he had was gone. With everything he'd made, the thing that instead helped was a small hand placed upon his own. He opened his eyes. It was his niece, Ephiny. She had returned from trick-or-treating, something he couldn't do because he was far too busy. But anything would have been better than this. They talked for a moment and they sat and breathed. The warmth of her hand seemed to warm the entire frost-ridden floor. They turned to look as another ghost came through the door. And one through the wall, one through the floor, the roof. At this point, the professor closed his eyes again, and the rest became a blur. Ephiny's super-secret diary extract. I was worried about the professor today. He seemed different. The sad thing is, I actually thought some of the ghosts were really quite beautiful. I thought some of them were glowing. But he didn't feel that way. It would be nice if he could become friends with them. I think the ghosts would like to be peaceful too. Chapter 2. The Spirit of Storm. Ephiny and the professor walked around the grounds, a collection of ghosts following them. A spooky parade, if you will. The professor was lost in his own thoughts, but Ephiny brought one of the ghosts from the back of the parade to show him. This one was different. This one brought a smile to the professor's face, somehow. Some time passed, and it simply wasn't tenable to keep walking around with these ghosts, like little sad, translucent puppies. Ephiny suggested that they give them a new home at House Storm. The professor found that utterly ridiculous. But she insisted, and there are some things you simply don't argue with a child about. And so, a few things opened up this evening, including a new area of House Storm. The next day, outside a grassy area, the professor put up a sign, which read, "The Ghost Gardens." A week passed, and one morning, Ephiny returned to the gardens. There were no ghosts there. They only came out at night. But in the middle of the grass was a single white flower, with just the faintest hint of rainbow flecks inside its petals. The Professor's Journal, Extract 2. Today was an odd day. I don't believe I would have been able to get up if it hadn't have been for Ephiny's hand. I don't even know where this all came from or what it all is. I don't believe I'll ever visit that garden. But then, Ephiny maintains one day I shall. And who am I to stand in the way of a child's hope? The end. Or perhaps the beginning. The professor will return.